I don't know if you ever saw on TMZ, the big headline, Dave Chappelle, drunk on stage in Detroit. Well, if you saw it, I wasn't drunk. I had smoked some reefer with some rappers. Yeah. I don't know if you know anything about hanging out with rappers, but their weed is very strong. Stronger than what I was accustomed to. The article goes on to say I was booed off stage, which is also incorrect. I was booed. I did not leave. It was a long bump. It was a fucking nightmare. 2 puffs of weed, that's all it was. 2 puffs. I never had that happen. When I take 2 puffs of weed, I looked at the guy next to me, I was like, I'm gonna bomb, nigga, I can feel it. And that guy called my name, Dave Chappelle. Niggas was like, you know, normally when you do a comedy show, you guys don't know what it looks like up here, but niggas be looking up at you like. That's how the show started. It didn't take long for the faces to switch up, like, what the fuck? They started looking amongst themselves. So I knew I wasn't doing good. I don't remember what I was saying. It just took one person to break the ice. It's a black lady with a Ford Motor shirt on. She stood up suddenly. Fuck you, Dave Chappelle. I said, excuse me? She said, I worked all week for this shit, and this show sucks. And in a weird act of racial harmony, a conservative white guy stood up and backed her up. Yeah! The whole crowd band together and started chanting, we want our money back. We want our money back. I said, oh shit. I snapped out of it. Good people of Detroit, hear me. Hear me now. You will never get your fucking money back. Fuck that. I said, I'm like Evel Knievel. I get paid for the attempt. I didn't promise this shit would be good. Boo, they said, fuck you. This went on for a long time. And then after the show, I felt so bad, I took half of the money from the show, thousands of dollars. I said, I'm gonna give this to charity. You know what I did? I bought $25,000 worth of bubble gum and drove around Detroit and handed it out to the homeless so they could chew it and still be hungry. I was very mad at Detroit that night. Because not only did I bomb, nigga, I had to go back to the very same room the next night and do it all over again. Fucking nightmare. That would be like if you were having sex with a woman and for some reason, this would never happen, but for some reason, she had a mouse trap in her pussy. You get caught in the trap. And then you gotta fuck her again tomorrow night. I'd still do it, but you know, I'd be careful the next time. The old mouse trap in the pussy trick, eh? Fool me once. Yeah, it was a tough time. And I wanted to give up sometimes. I almost did give up, but then right before I gave up, I decided not to. But I made the call. They answered the phone. Hello? Dancing with the Stars. I said, not yet. Not yet. Yeah. Oh, if you see me on that shit, it's over. Trust me. My spirit is broken. If you see me waiting for them judges, getting critiqued on my cha-cha, fuck that.
And ever since he did that lecture, I listened in his class intently. He was one of the only guys that I would always get straight A's from because I worked very hard, not to get his approval, but to avoid his disapproval. When we were coming up, they had a thing called juries. I don't know, do they still do juries? Juries is when all the department heads give you a piece to work on and they sit there and they make you perform the piece, and the criticism is brutal. We were kids. we didn't understand that they were preparing us for a hard world ahead. If you wanted a profession in art, they would tear us to shreds. The stress of a jury, and man, I never practiced. Because I didn't want to act. At an improv class, a teacher named Geraldine Gilstrap told me that I should stop doing funny pieces, that I should try to stretch myself artistically, that maybe I had more in me than comedy. And at the time, I took offense to that. So because she said that, after school that very night, I went to the comedy club. For the first time, I signed the list, and I waited, and I got on, and I killed it. Killed it. Must have been 35 years ago, night after night. I killed it. I'd show up with a bag of tricks that I learned at school, and I would dominate adults on a regular basis. Couldn't wait to get out of DC. When I was 17, I moved to New York and lit that comedy scene up. I was obviously talented. You'll hear stories about people saying that I discovered Dave Chappelle. That's like saying you discovered sunshine. I was shining on everybody. And when I got in that professional world, I was oddly prepared. I had a sense of professionalism. I showed up on time. I did the things that I learned in school to do, just the basics. My career didn't have any direction because I was still so young. And that didn't change for many years. It didn't change until my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, told me she was pregnant. And I was like, you know what? I should really start taking this seriously. When she told me that, before the baby was born, I had done my first HBO special, and then I went to work on a sketch comedy show idea I had, and the Chappelle show came out. When my son was still maybe 18 months years old. And I bet on myself. I took less money. I remember that, so I could do what I wanted to do. I said, you don't have to pay me that much, but you can't ever tell me that I can't do what I want to do. I did the first season, I'll tell you, for $300,000. Which sounds like a lot of money, but. It was a rare experience in my life because it was the first time that I did something that was so successful that I knew I had exceeded their expectations. I was more successful than I felt like I was supposed to be. They didn't plan on that. The second season came out and was a juggernaut, and then I remember this was the single best day of my career. The Rick James episode of Chappelle Show had come out. People were going crazy about the Rick James episode. At the same time, the DVD for season 1 of Chappelle Show dropped. It was the first time any television show had ever been sold off air, and it sold 1 million copies in the first day. It was unheard of. To this day, nothing has sold more than Chappelle Show. It's still on the top 10 in Netflix. All those great things happened, and my contract was up, clearly. Clearly, I was about to be rich. I'll spare you all the details of why it didn't work out. But it didn't work out. And I ended up doing something that no one had ever seen before, including myself. Maybe Prince is the only other guy that I've seen do this, where he just quit something that was popular when you're at the very top of it. Lucky for me, when I quit, I went to Africa, so there was a media storm that I didn't hear. By the time I got back, everyone was just looking at me crazy. That was a very difficult decision to make. The entire world told me I was crazy, but I was sure I was being true to myself and to something that I learned at Ellington. I'm one of those comedians that thought of himself as an artist. I was enamored by what the genre could do. It was like the pictures that I could paint with words and the way I could engage with audiences. I understood as it was happening. I was very lucky to be able to do this. And I protected that. And I knew that if I took the money, they would expect me to behave differently. And I wasn't willing to accept that. So I quit. And when I quit, it was a very difficult time in my life that I'll spare you the details, but man, fuck show business. It was tough. And then one day I was in Panama City, Panama, and I was at a hotel, and I looked at the lobby. There was a painting of Abraham Lincoln. And then I would look closer. It wasn't a painting, and a line formed. These kids said everything about gender and this and that and the other, but they didn't say anything about art. And this is my biggest gripe with this whole controversy with the closer, that you cannot report on an artist's work and remove artistic nuance from his words. It would be like if you were reading a newspaper and they say, man, shot in the face by a 6-foot rabbit, expected to survive. You'd be like, oh my God. And they never tell you it's a Bugs Bunny cartoon. I took a lot of cold shots in show business. And I gotta tell you, as the years go on, you feel the shots less and less as just the business, is what you say. But that one, that day, boy, that day they hurt me. When I heard those talking points coming out of these children's faces, that really, sincerely hurt me. Because I know those kids didn't come up with those words. I've heard those words before. The more you say I can't say something, the more urgent it is for me to say it. And it has nothing to do with what you're saying I can't say. It has everything to do with my right, my freedom of artistic expression that is valuable to me, that is not separate from me. It's worth protecting for me, and it's worth protecting for everyone else who endeavors in our noble, noble professions. And these kids didn't understand that they were instruments of oppression. And I didn't get mad at them. They're kids, they're freshmen, they're not ready yet. They don't know. What made me mad, and I am this petty, I ain't saying names. One of the kids' mother went on Fox News. And she used to be a student here. I remember her face, but I don't know if she was particularly popular. Anyway. She was in the literary media arts department. She said a lot of things that I didn't like, a lot of things, but, you know, that's her right. Things she said that got to me. She said, at Duke Ellington, that theater was a sanctuary for students. I used to sit there and meditate. Well, of course you'd meditate. You were a literary media arts student. We didn't meditate in here, we got to work. But okay, fine. I would sit in there and meditate, she said. And then she scrunched her face up. She's a beautiful woman, but her face looked hideous the way she scrunched it up. And she said, and just to imagine his name on that theater. How could you do that to those kids? Listen, no matter what they said about the closer, it was still the most watched special in the world. And I am still of the mind, and I say this with all humility, it is a masterpiece. And I challenge all my peers to make its equal. They cannot. I am sure. It will be decades before you ever see someone in my genre as proficient as me. I am maybe a once-in-a-lifetime talent. I am telling you the truth. About 3 weeks ago, I saw in the newspaper that they said a man that was dressed in women's clothing threw a pie at the Mona Lisa and tried to deface it. And it made me laugh because I'm like, it's like the closer. I said it to the kids that day, if you have a better idea, then express it, and you can beat me. It's that easy. If you have more talent than me, then display it, and you can beat me with certainty. This is what our genre is about. The idea that my name will be turned into an instrument of someone else's perceived oppression is untenable to me. The fact that if my name was on this theater and the kid that walked through that door would feel anything other than pride in their school and in their endeavors, well, that's untenable to me. So on Friday, I decided that I don't want my name on the school. Hear me out. The Ellington family is my family. When this controversy came out, when the students were angry, at the height of their anger, they said, we still want to name the theater after you. They taught the kids about the nuance of art and activism. And I feel, a great deal of success. And it came around. So it's not that they did not want to give this to me. They're still my family. And I'm not going to say I don't want it. I'm going to say I'll defer it. Rather than give this theater my name, I would like to give these students my message to them. So it is with great honor that I unveil the new name of this theater, the Gerard Carmichael Theater. I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking. Let me see if I can get this here. This theater should be called the Theater for Artistic Freedom and Expression. I want that for myself. Man, I gotta tell you, when I was sitting here watching what all the other honorees have done with their lives, I started feeling like shit, like this is terrible. And then Bobo brought me up and started out good with that Ali picture, and then it just, whew. But that coloring book that was in the picture, I know the Ali's are here, that coloring book, my mother has it. And Champ, he signed it. You know, the greatest, he signed Muhammad Ali. And his sparring partner was there that day. And his sparring partner signed it, said the next heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes. And he was. And 2-year-old Dave Chappelle colored all in that shit and just ruined the book. But I remember part of the book that I remember real vividly, because I asked my mother about it when I was a kid. There's a part where there's a picture of Ali throwing his Olympic gold medal into the Ohio River. That's why it's so weird for me being here. You know, both my parents were very brilliant. My dad went to Brown in 1955. That's right. He told me at the time he was one of 3 black students. He said one of the guys got accused of a rape that he probably didn't commit, and the other guy killed himself, and Dad said, and I left. And see, that's what makes us Chappelle's great. We know when to quit. We all just live to fight another day. I gotta say, I'm very honored to be here, and I'm very honored to be here with the other honorees. Really, I'm like very humbled by you all, the work that you do, and you all make me want to be better. All of you. And, you know, I was going to stop doing stand-up for a while because 4 comedy specials in a year is like, that's a lot, you know. But, you know, shout out to my colleagues in comedy. I just want to say that in a way, this, for me, belongs to my mother primarily, who was an African-American studies professor. And a lot of the content that I say, she raised me well. I'm not an uninformed person. But also, you know, my colleagues in comedy, like comedians have been getting beat up pretty bad recently, and we're somehow nowadays expected to speak with the precision of attorneys or politicians. We are not. I always think of James Baldwin. You know, James Baldwin was one of my favorite writers because he managed to tell white people what they feel like to be around. So I ain't gonna hang up my gloves yet. I think I got one more special in me. So to quote Baldwin, God gave Noah the rainbow sign. It's no more water, it's the fire next time. Thank you very much.
And so, if you would, please join me in welcoming Dave Chappelle home again.
Oh, thank you. You know, I speak for a living, and I'm a little nervous today. I wanted to say thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Bishop Green, and thank everyone at Allen University for hosting me today, because it feels special, right? When I think of this great grandfather that I've heard about in my life, but never actually touched his legacy. So it's like the product of his loins coming to meet the product of his work. And it's an important day for me personally. And I know a lot of you guys are students, and I just want to tell you I'm the first person in my family to not go to college. And as the president has told you, I've done outstanding in spite of that. But one thing I did want to say, and one thing today just made me think about, for all the things that I've done, I'm most renowned for what I didn't do. I've made decisions in my career that a lot of people have called insane. 2004, had a $50 million deal on the table, and in a crisis of conscience, flipped the table over and walked away. Went to South Africa. Everyone said I was running away from the money. That is not true. In fact, I still want that money. The idea that I wanted to just share with you guys is the idea that sometimes you do what you think is best, whether anybody understands it or not. I heard a story about my father where someone told me he used to do statistics for a company in D.C. The company he did statistics for started doing business with the South African government. so he quit his job. It's caused a lot of problems between him and his wife. It's hard for a man when he can't provide for his family the way he wants to, and he suffered through it. And a generation later, when I had my crisis of conscience, I was able to go to a free South Africa and get away from the heat. This idea that what you do in your lifetime informs the generations that comes after you is something I keep thinking about, something that is so much bigger than just ourselves. And today I'm standing in front of you guys, and I know you guys are like, oh, I know you're bored. But I see family of mine in the front row some who I've never met, and I just realize how all of us are connected. That my great-grandfather built something more substantial than buildings. He built a community, and he built, more importantly than a community, he built a way. You know, so I'm very grateful. Very grateful. Hello, police. I just saw him saying, you know what I mean? He's standing over like, so this is what black people talk about. I just want you guys to remember, you know, that right now there's this thing where ethics aren't what they used to be. This idea that people are trying to replace the ideas of good and bad with better or worse. And that is incorrect. You gotta keep your ethics intact because good and bad is a compass that helps you find the way. And a person that only does what's better or worse is the easiest type of person to control. They are a mouse in a maze that just finds the cheese. But the one who knows about good and bad will realize that he's in a maze. So, that being said, I just hope that all of you guys transcend whatever you see as your obstacles and that you live outstanding lives and that you stay connected to your communities because you have so much power there, and that you grow your communities and you diversify your communities, and that you don't let anybody tell you you can't or to be afraid. It's okay to be afraid because you can't be brave or courageous without fear. The idea of being courageous is that even though you're scared, you just do the right thing anyway. So in 2004, I walked away from $50 million, and in November, I made a deal for $60 million. So, although I am not the most famous comedian of my time, I would like to know what their great-grandfathers did. I'm very proud today. Thank you very much. Boy, this comes as a complete surprise. I mean, I read all the reviews, and they said so many terrible things. They were embarrassed for me. I had lost my way. It wasn't even worth watching. I hope all you critics learn from this. This is a teachable moment. Shut the fuck up forever. Two in a night. These aren't them. These are the ones I won for the other ones, motherfucker. I would like to thank my editor who was nominated. Unfortunately, he did not win, but I couldn't have been more honored to work with Jeff Urin. Stan Lathan has been directing television since 1968. Any show that I watched when I was growing up, to Good Times, to Everything Black, and finally, you motherfuckers finally gave him an Emmy tonight. He deserves so much more, but I'm glad you came around. like to shout out all the other nominees tonight. Tiffany Haddish and Patton Oswalt and Hannah Gatsby and Brother Mulaney. You guys are an inspiration to me, and I'm honored to be nominated with you. I'm sorry that you didn't win tonight, but who gives a fuck anyway? It's a special night because comedy gets to be itself. It's all we've ever wanted. I hope the war is over. We good? And as always, I love to thank my wife, Elaine. That's right. Elaine has been with me for the last 25 years and had to endure the pains of living with the greatest comedian ever. See you on Monday. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. I like not knowing what's going to happen. I like making memories. Sometimes I do all this crazy shit around my colleagues just so that they can tell their friends I did it. But rather than talk about myself, just briefly, I want to just talk about my genre. Stand-up comedy is an incredibly American genre. I don't think any other country could produce this many comedians. And unbeknownst to many people in this audience, I don't think there's opinion that it exists in this country that is not represented in a comedy club by somebody. Each and every one of you has a champion in the room. We watch you guys fight, but when we're together, we talk it out. I know comics that are very racist, and I watch them on stage, and everyone's laughing, and I'm like, that motherfucker means that shit. Don't get mad at them, don't hate them. We go upstairs and have a beer, and sometimes I even appreciate the artistry that they paint their racist opinions with. Man, it's not that serious. The First Amendment is first for a reason. The Second Amendment is just in case the first one doesn't work out. We gotta let some air out of the ball, man. The country's getting a little tight. It doesn't feel like it's ever felt in my lifetime. So tonight, I am honored that my colleagues are here in comedy and in music. And I want everyone in America right now to look at me. Look at me smoking indoors. I didn't ask anybody. I just did it. What are they gonna do? Kick me out before I get the prize? No, nigga, this is called leverage. The thing that I liked best about tonight was that I saw so many people from different parts of my life, like friends that I grew up with here in D.C., friends of mine from Ohio then and now, friends of mine from comedy clubs, all the fucking musicians that blew my mind. You guys have no idea how you inspired me. I want to give a special shout out to my OG, Tony Woods. Miles Davis has a quote. It's one of my favorite. Miles Davis said so much cool shit, but one of the things he said I always loved, he said, it took me years to learn how to play like myself. You know, he would watch other musicians and he would try to play like Dizzy or Bird or all the guys who were great. Tony Woods was my Dizzy and Bird if I was a Miles. I was trying to play like you. You were the first person I ever saw do it absolutely right. You were fearless and you told the truth. There's something so true about this genre, when done correctly, that I will fight anybody that gets a true practitioner of this art form's way, because I know you're wrong. This is the truth. And you are obstructing it. I'm not talking about the content, I'm talking about the art form. Do you understand? Do we have an agreement?
And what I really wanted to say tonight, and I'm glad I get the platform to do it, I'm gay. I am gay, and I can't wait to see what this does for my career, being gay like this. So many special shout-outs. One of the main architects of the comeback of the century, my brother and my mentor, the mighty Stan Lathan. I never dreamed that I would be able to work with someone as great as you. These last 5 specials, straight fire. I wouldn't want to do another special with anybody else but you. So eat your motherfucking vegetables and live as long as you can, because we doing a few more of these bitches. Neil Brennan, your speech made me cry, because it reminded me of all those hard days of work and all that money I never got for it. The other real special shout out I gotta make, because none of this would have been possible on any level without this person, is my mother. Mom. My mother. Mom. You have no idea what I put this woman through. If you had just given birth to me, that would have been more than enough. But the fact that you raised me and raised me well, we had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who was charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories, and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt down. And my mother used to tell me, before I ever thought about doing comedy, she said, you should be a griot. And she'd fill me with every story of black life. You know, she's educated in African-American studies, and she would let me understand the context that I was being raised in, that I'm being raised in a hostile environment that I have to tame. By the time I was 14 years old, I was in nightclubs, mastering an adult world. It was terrifying. The crack epidemic was going on, and my mother would hear gunshots outside and be scared to death. Maybe it's my son. But early in my career, if you remember, Mom, you used to sit in the club with me. She'd do a full day of work. You'd be back there falling asleep, just waiting for me to go on. She would watch my show every night. Do you know how long that car ride is home? How many of you have ever heard your mother say, pussy jokes were a little too much tonight, son? I was a soft kid. I was sensitive, I'd cry easy, and I would be scared to fist fight. And my mother used to tell me this thing, I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are. I talk this shit like a lion. I'm not afraid of any of you. When it comes word to word, I will gab with the best of them, just so I can chill and be me. And that's why I love my art form, because I understand every practitioner of it. Whether I agree with them or not, I know where they're coming from. They want to be heard. They got something to say. There's something they notice. They just want to be understood. Love this genre. It saved my life. So tonight, Mom, I would like to honor you in a very special way that I cannot do on my own. But because now I'm a man with great and influential friends, I'd like to ask my man Thundercat to come out on the stage. Thundercat, the mighty Mos Def. Washington, D.C., thank you very much for giving me a home and a place to start. Today is officially Dave Chappelle Day in Washington, D.C. The mayor declared it last night. So, in the future, on Dave Chappelle Day, I ask everyone who wishes to celebrate it to make one incredible memory for themselves and or somebody else. Thank you very much. Good night.
I haven't seen my friend call me. He was like, Dave, having fun in Frisco? Hell yeah. Seen the sights? No. You want to go see Alcatraz? What kind of nigga in his right mind wants to visit a prison for recreation? I got friends in jail I don't visit. I don't deal with jails. Don't deal with jails, and I don't deal with police. My house got robbed in New York. I didn't even call the police. I wanted to, but I couldn't. My crib is too nice. It's not that it's too nice, but it's too nice for me. You know how the police are in New York. Soon as I open the doors, they'll be like, oh, he's still here. Open and shut case, Johnson. Apparently, this black guy broke in and hung up pictures of his family everywhere. Never seen anything like it. Don't deal with them, man. I had to bail a friend of mine out of jail one time. You know, that was horrible. I was scared. I had to walk right into the belly of the beast. I tried to look as non-threatening as possible. Hi. I'm here to bail out my buddy. Oh, okay. Well, while you're here, you do fit a description. If you'll walk this way, we can process you. How'd always get us. It's fitting those damn descriptions. Now, I could be bitter and blame all the police, but no. I'll tell you who I blame. It's those fucking sketch artists. They keep drawing the same brother over and over again. Who is this generic man we all look like? I want to know what they say when it's us. You know what I mean? They'd be in that room like, did you get a look? Did you see the guy that tried to rob you? Yes. Yes, I did. He was about 6 feet tall, I'd say. 6 feet tall? Yes. He had his hat on backwards, too. Good. That's good stuff. Hat was on backwards. Yes. He was black? Okay. Big lips, big nose, dick hanging out. Say no more, sir. I'll draw him from memory. You know, let me get my stencil. I think we can trace this guy and save some time. They get on the radio and shit, calling out cars. Be on the lookout for a black male between 4'7" and 6'8". Between 120 and 380 pounds. He's wearing Nikes. Get this man! These criminals are insane. I don't even know why people do crime. They want to catch you, they're going to catch you. They can. They got forensics. You ever seen forensics? Those guys find clues nobody else thinks about looking for. I mean it. You leave a pubic hair anywhere near a crime scene, they're going to find that shit. What the hell is this? Back up! We got a match. Then they look at the pubic and tell all kinds of information. Looks like there was a struggle. Time of death 307. It's amazing. I saw him get a dude one time on court TV. It was embarrassing. It was a sexual assault case. I knew the defendant was lying. I could feel it. He defended himself too hard. He did. His answers had nothing to do with the questions. They're completely irrelevant. They asked him easy questions. Were you anywhere near the crime scene on the night of the incident? Motherfucker, I told you I work at Burger King. He was like, that went on for hours. Then the prosecutor got fed up. Said, I've had enough of this. Called the forensics to the stand. Forensics was like, Your Honor, we are prepared to testify that we found the defendant's semen under the stove. I said, God damn. That's worse than fingerprints. Yeah, they find your semen, you've been there at least a minute. But that's what I want to know. Under the stove? You find semen like that? Or do you look for it? Like, do they walk onto a crime scene like, this place is a mess? Check it for semen. Or do they just like walk in and slip? Oh my God. What the hell was that? Semen. They find it on every crime scene. It's like, what are burglars doing? So we got the stuff, let's get out of here. Wait a minute. I want to leave my calling card. The semen bandit has struck again.
Because I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, if you support him or not, any objective person is going to have to admit that this motherfucker is having a terrible go of it. It really is. We've had presidents before that have done bad jobs, but this shit is worse than a bad job. It's scary to watch. Holy shit, it's like seeing a crack pipe in your Uber driver's passenger seat. The fuck is wrong with this guy? Yo, he is lunching, nigga. I watched Donald Trump in a press conference, and this motherfucker had all the media gathered, and this nigga literally asked the media to their face to stop finding shit out. I was like, yo, this motherfucker is bugging. And then, I'm not even making this up, his lips started sweating. His lips. Have you ever seen a motherfucker's lip sweat? What the fuck is wrong with this nigga's lips? It's like if you're on a plane, right? You ever been on a plane? I get scared to fly. I do it all the time. I be scared on there. And sometimes the plane will hit turbulence. And then I get nervous. But I always look at the flight attendant, and she looks calm, and it makes me feel calm. But if that bitch's lips were sweating, it's terrifying. Like, yo, nigga, why are your lips sweating? What do you know? And then, I'm not even making this shit up. This motherfucker grabbed the podium, he goes, you don't know how scary the things I read in my briefings are. And I was like, holy shit, man, you ain't supposed to tell us that, bro. That's bad leadership. Even as a parent, you think I'm gonna sit my kids down? Hey, little man, come here real quick. I just wanna holler at you for a second. Yo, I'm 3 months behind on the rent, nigga, and I am worried. Very worried. Go to school and have a productive day, nigga. I was just thinking out loud, getting some shit off my chest. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? This is bad, man. Jesus Christ. All this motherfucker's ideas sound like high people ideas. Like he doesn't think these things through before he tells us. He just tells us what he's thinking as soon as it occurs to him. This shit sounds nuts. I'm gonna go to China and I'm gonna get those jobs from China and bring them back here to America. For what, nigga? So iPhones can be $9,000? Leave that job in China where it belongs. None of us want to work that hard. The fuck is he thinking? I want to wear Nikes. I don't want to make them shits. What the fuck are you doing? Stop trying to give us Chinese jobs. I am going to bring back coal. Coal? I'm not even exaggerating. I have never in my life even seen a fucking lump of coal. I honestly don't even know what coal is for. If you're gonna have motherfuckers digging around in the dirt looking for shit, find me some truffles, nigga. That's what I'm about. And these truffle prices are getting out of control. If it gets any worse, I'm gonna be back down to regular butter like everybody else. Terrible, terrible job. This motherfucker hit North Korea with rap battle threats. Fire and fury, like, yo! Yo, what are you doing? It's fucking Korea, man. Kim Jong-un is a scary motherfucker. He might be as crazy as Trump. Some scary shit. And if you one of them naive motherfuckers that thinks that a war with Korea is gonna be easy, then you don't play Call of Duty at 3 a.m. like I do. Because that's when the Koreans play. Fucking 8-year-old Korean kid took out my whole goddamn platoon last night. I've never seen somebody in an office so high with the most just basic fucking solutions. Like, you know, we should not let any more Muslims in the country till we can figure out what's going on. Did he just say, figure out what's going on? Who doesn't know how to do basic math? Let's count it out, okay? There's been 17 mass shootings in the United States. 4 of them were done by Muslims. None of those 4 Muslims were from any of the 7 countries in your stupid ass original band. And since he brought it up, the other 13 shootings were done by the Tiki Torch Whites. These are facts. And you don't see me trying to ban white people from the show to keep the rest of the audience safe. It's a fucking terrible idea because it's mean and it's racist, and most importantly, it would be catastrophic to my bottom line. If there were no white people here tonight, I might leave this bitch with $1,800. This man needs to realize that we all need each other. And that's why we will never, ever be able to beat China. Because everybody in America is racist, and everybody in China is Chinese. This motherfucker called it all wrong. And don't believe the media either, because as all this shit is happening, the media is trying to make us believe that the extremities amongst us are the norms. We can disagree, that's fine. And most of us are keeping a cool head about this shit. You know what I mean? Americans generally respect one another's beliefs, even if they don't share those beliefs. I know I do. I respect everybody's beliefs except Amish people. Because they are the only ones that I can say clearly their God is wrong. The speed limit is 75 miles an hour in Ohio, and 1 lane of traffic is blocked by a goddamn horse and buggy. Nigga, your God is ridiculous. All the Amish people around my way know me too. Not from television, obviously. They know me from the streets. Because when I see them horse and buggies, I'll pull the Porsche over and talk to them. Ezekiel, are you sure that God doesn't want you to have any of this technology or this energy? Huh? Huh? I can't hear you, nigga. Let me turn this air conditioner off. What did you say? And them niggas be like, get away from me, ye. Ye tried to tempt me like the devil. Devil? Nah, bro, I'm trying to put you on to the game, Zeke. It's a big world out here, nigga. I just went 25 miles in 30 minutes. That's a day's journey for you. You don't even know what the weather's gonna be tomorrow, do you? I do. You don't even know that there's a valuable Pokemon right on your shoulder. Beep, ta-ta. Then I drive away. Huh? Oh, my vape pen? You want to hit my vape pen? Oh, sorry, nigga, I'm trying not to get herpes. My bad. I've been playing cat and mouse with herpes for 30 years now, but every night I go to the club, I'll be like, not tonight, herpes. No disrespect, I'm not saying you have herpes, I'm just saying 1 out of 5 people do. So let's just all be careful around this motherfucker and make sure that we leave with the lips we came with. Sometimes I think that the media is hard on Trump, because I'll see shit that they get on him about that doesn't seem bad to me. I mean, a nigga got on Trump about not staying in the White House enough. Who gives a fuck? This motherfucker was rich. Used to shit in a gold toilet. It's true. I don't know if you've ever been to the White House. It looks like a very nice place to work, but I wouldn't want to live in that Scooby-Doo ass house either. That shit's terrifying looking. Imagine you trying to jerk off in the crib and Abraham Lincoln's just looking at you like... Shit, Bush didn't stay there either. He was rich too. He was like, fuck that, I'm going to my ranch in Texas. Obama was the first motherfucker to move into the White House like, this is a nice place. Look at this rug. The media got on him about putting Jared Kushner in his cabinet, and I didn't think that that was the worst thing he'd done. I mean, it was still early, and I mean, it's not unprecedented. Kennedy had his brother as the attorney general, right? And this motherfucker's a Washington outsider. To be honest with you, I'd probably do the same thing. As a matter of fact, I do. You think I go to a Hollywood meeting with all them white folks by myself? I bring my nigga Mac Mittens from the streets. I don't even know his real name. Everybody just calls him Mac Mittens. But I know he's not qualified to even listen to these meetings, but this motherfucker just makes me feel good. And all the white people look at me like, Dave, do you mind asking your friend Mac Mittens to excuse us so that we can talk business? And I say, fuck that. Anything you say to me, Mac Mittens can hear that shit. And he listened to the whole meeting. When they done talking, I just look over at Mac Mittens, and if he gives me the signal, meow, meow, I'll sign the papers. It's a gut check. Or how about this one? Remember when it was the day after the election, and the president of Taiwan called Donald Trump to congratulate him, and Donald Trump, you know, of course, took the call and talked to the president of Taiwan. The problem with that was Taiwan doesn't have a president. The United States functions on what they call a one China policy, and Taiwan is a renegade province of said China. And Donald Trump didn't know that and picked up the phone and started yammering away, and the media ate his ass up. And I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing like shit. I was like, oh shit, this dumb motherfucker is in trouble. And then that night I was in bed drifting off to sleep, and then I had to admit it to myself. I was like, I didn't know that shit either. And then I realized the media got the story wrong. The story wasn't that Donald Trump took the call. The biggest story is that nobody told Donald Trump not to take the call. That's terrifying. God damn, nigga, you don't have a Mac Mittens on your team? It wasn't like they were calling the White House, they were calling the switchboard at Trump Towers, and they were getting through. Anybody. Mr. President, there's a Ricky Ticky Tabby on the phone for you? Yes, put him through. Hello, Ricky Ticky. Good to talk to you. Mr. President, there's a John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith on the phone. Oh, his name is my name too. Put him through. Hello, John Jacob. Let's talk business. How many people in this room are not originally from the United States. My round of applause. Where are you from, bro? You right there. Iraq. You're from Iraq? Ew. I was fucking around. How long have you been here in the country?
23 years.
23 years? Are you a citizen yet? You are? Congratulations, nigga. Congratulations. Well, welcome to this great land. You know, I'm gonna give you a history lesson, because I'm sure this wasn't on your entry exam. But every naturalized American has heard something about what I'm about to tell you. A picture is the early 50s in the United States. This 14-year-old boy goes down from Chicago to Mississippi to meet his extended family for the first time. He'd never been to Mississippi. And before he went, his mother said to him, very pointedly, she said, if a white man looks you in your eyes in Mississippi, look away. And I don't know what you know about black people from Chicago, but they're not a scared people. Legend has it, he was in front of a convenience store, hanging out with his cousins, having a good time, and a white woman walked out of the store, and he thought she was pretty, and he said, bye, baby, not realizing that he had just made a fatal mistake. 4 days later, a group of adult white men burst into this family's home and snatched a 14-year-old boy out of bed in front of his family that was powerless to stop them, and he was never seen alive again. His name was Emmett Till. They found his body maybe a few days later. It was in a creek, tied to a wheel so it would sink, horribly beaten and bloated. Hideous. And lucky for everybody in America, his mother was a fucking gangster. She was. If you can imagine, in the very midst of a mother's worst nightmare, this woman had the foresight to think about everybody. She said, leave my son's casket open. She said, the world needs to see what they did to my baby. And every publication here in the United States, from Jet magazine all the way to the New York Times, had this boy's horribly bloated body on its cover. And if our civil rights movement was a car, this boy's dead body was premium gas. This was a very definitive moment in American history where every thinking and feeling person was like, ugh, we gotta do better than this. And they fought beautifully, and here we all are. And the reason that I bring that up tonight and why it's relevant now is because less than a year ago, the woman that he allegedly whistled at admitted on her deathbed that she lied in her court testimony. And you can imagine when we read that shit, we was like, ooh, you lying ass bitch. Was furious. But that was my initial reaction. And initial reactions that we all learned as we get older are often wrong or more often incomplete. They call this phenomenon standing too close to an elephant. The analogy being that if you stand too close to an elephant, you can't see the elephant. All you see is its penis-like skin. You gotta step back and give it a better look. And on stepping back and thinking about it for a few moments, I realized that it must have been very difficult for this woman to tell a truth that heinous about herself at any point in her life, even the very end. And I was grateful that she had the courage to tell it before she left this world, because it's an important truth and we needed to know. And I said to myself, well, thank you for telling the truth, you lying ass bitch. And then time goes on, and then after time, you can kind of see the whole elephant. And it's humbling, because you realize that this woman lied, and that lie caused the murder. But that murder set in motion a sequence of events that made my wonderful life possible.
that made this very night possible. How could this be that this lie could make the world a better place? It's maddening. And that's how I feel about this president. I feel like this motherfucker might be the lie that saves us all. Because I have never felt more American than when we all hate on this motherfucker together. Jesus Christ, it's good. And when it happens, I can see everybody that's struggling. So if I'm on stage and I tell a joke that makes you want to beat up a transgender, then you're probably a piece of shit and don't come see me anymore. Or if you don't understand that when a football player takes a knee during the national anthem, he's actually standing up for me, then you might not want to fuck with me anymore. But I swear, no matter how bad it gets, you're my countrymen, and I know for a fact that I'm determined to work shit out with y'all. And if that woman that said that heinous lie was alive today, I would thank her for lying. And then I would kick her in the pussy. Thank you. You guys know I live in Ohio. In January, when this nigga Trump and Elon made this Doge thing and cut all those government jobs, the housing market in my hometown plunged 20% in the first quarter. And I don't mean to talk like a white. But boy, they did that, didn't they? And then when this nigga deployed the National Guard in my hometown and took the police department from the mayor, oh, DC niggas, we don't like that. But then my governor in Ohio sent our National Guard to police my hometown. And I called these niggas and said, I'm pulling up. Because these niggas is trying to take the chocolate out of Chocolate City. I said, I gotta go home while it's still a city I remember. And then I went on Instagram and saw all the protests in DC. And it was a bunch of white people like, not on our streets. I said, oh no, it's too late. These whites are entrenched. Not on our goddamn streets, you don't. This nigga Trump was talking like he goes out to dinner. It's not like that. Yep. And I gotta tell you the truth. This is not the only city this is happening in. It's happening in California. It's happening in Oregon. It's happening in Illinois. And it's happening in Memphis. And the niggas in Memphis, they might need it. You gotta be reasonable. I don't know if you've been in Memphis recently, but them niggas already stole 2 tanks from the National Guard, so you already know. You already know, you know. And I came here mad, ready to fight, but when I drove through the city, it looked clean, guys. I gotta tell you, it looked clean. A lot better than the last time I was here. Today I only saw one guy take a shit on the street. But you know what? He had a bag. That nigga picked it up. I was waiting for somebody to do something about the homeless. You know what's fucked up about DC? We the nation's capital, and nobody even gives a fuck about the homeless. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I feel like I'm the only one that does. Now, y'all don't know this, but quietly for the last 2 years, I have been secretly working with Washington's homeless, and I have spent $2 million already on my homeless project. No, don't clap for me. I didn't get them food or anything like that. I just taught these niggas to Thriller dance. And you got a big treat coming up on Halloween, you'll see. And I'm sorry I didn't come home sooner, but I've been very busy in Ohio. And a lot of people say, what are you doing out there? And I don't know if you know this, but this is true. I'll tell you what I've been doing. The town that I've been living in for the last 25 years, I bought most of it. I like it there. Ohio loves Trump, but this town I live in is like a little itty-bitty Bernie Sanders Island in the Trump seat. All the whites are poor out there, but these are like the dirty hippie whites, and I like them. I like these whites. And they like me too. But you know what I learned about liberal white people? Liberal white people let black people do whatever the fuck they want until you buy most of their town. Oh, they frowned on that. Them whites got real suspicious. But you know what? I don't blame them. Because, no, for real, because look, if I was white and the people in this town were black, you know what they'd say? They would say I was gentrifying the town. But there's no word for what I'm doing to these people. I own everything, nigga, everything. I used to be mad at white people when I was young because I thought they were unfair. But now that I have all this property, I understand them. It's fun. Feels good to walk up to white people like, are you supposed to be here? Calling the police. It's fun. I own so much property in this town, and this is true. These white people think I'm responsible for their well-being. That's ridiculous, nigga. I'm not no public servant. I'm a capitalist. I'll be walking down the street minding my own business, and they come up to me with their concerns. Dave, congratulations on buying the whole goddamn town. But you need to start thinking about some affordable housing around here. And I'll be like, well, actually, champ, I can afford my house. That sounds like some shit you need to worry about. Because if I think about it, I can afford your house too. So if you want to sell, come holler at your boy. I'm collecting the whole town. I'm collecting the whole goddamn town. You know, I don't know where these poor whites got the money. But not long ago, these motherfuckers built a brand new fire station out of the blue. Where the fuck they get this money from? I was like, what the fuck is this? And then, you know what they did? This is some real racist shit. They tried to sell the old fire station at an auction when they knew I was gonna be out of town. It's fucked up. But it's far too late for that. I got that whole town rigged with snitches. Them niggas couldn't wait to tell me. They was running up, my lord, I have news, my lord. I was like, what's going on? It's just you say a firehouse. Nigga, I bought the firehouse. I turned that motherfucker into a comedy and music club. We be rocking in there. Clip's been there, we all be out there rocking. Every famous person I've ever met, I asked them to play that club. I seen Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones at a party. I asked that, and I said, yo, Mick. I said, Mick, you gotta come to Ohio and play my club. And he was into it. He was like, all right. He said, all right. I like playing clubs. He said, but tell me about the town. I said, well, what do you want to know? And that nigga looked at me like you know, Mick Jagger look. He said, are there girls there? I lied right in his face. I was like, yeah. He knew something was wrong. He's like, no. Come on, Dave, you know, like the kind of girls that I like. I said, Mick, I don't know what kind of girls you like. And he said, you know, you've heard my music. Are there white bitches with dirty feet?
I said, Mick, you are going to love this place. Mick, these bitches will put a ring around a public pool. Dirty hippie pussy, that's what I'm dealing with. I'm not a drug guy at all, right? But I am in show business, you know what I mean? So I've been to every kind of party. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I smoke weed, but I don't consider weed a drug. But you know how show business is. I've been to cocaine parties, I've been to weed parties, I've been to all the parties, and I'm just telling you the truth, what I've seen. Coke bitches are way prettier than weed bitches are. I be looking at weed bitches like, damn, bitches, you sleep in those clothes? The fuck's going on with you? No energy in their face. They don't wear their bra all the time so the titties be sagging. Get your dick out of my face, man. That's how weed girl sounds. Not gonna suck your cock, man. My mouth is dry as a bone. You ever get some weed head? Feels gross, doesn't it? Feels like a cat sucking your dick. Like, what kind of... How do you not have any moisture in your mouth? Bitch, go wet your whistle and try again, would you? Drink some water. Yuck. Yuck.